Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024. Welcome back to Operation Freedom, folks. I'm Dr. Dave Janda, broadcasting from our ancillary bunker link to our Freedom Bunker in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor. We're here live for you every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. Also available 24/7 at davejanda.com with extra shows, extra content, extra guests, extra analysis. Stop on by. You will not be disappointed, but you will be educated and empowered. And that is exactly what the globalist cult, the syndicate, does not want. You heard it here today live in the middle of Mike Cutler's interview as he, a former INS agent, was speaking about illegal immigration and what's really happening behind the curtain as it relates to the immigration issues. You heard what the cult didn't want you to hear that. They cut them off. I got some feedback. They weren't very happy about my last guest, Yvette Franco-Clark, talking about what you can do in your local community as it relates to these refugee resettlement programs and illegal immigration and how you can try to hold local officials' feet to the fire as it relates to what's happening in your community from a health standpoint, a safety standpoint, a security standpoint. And now they're going to really get on fire, the syndicate, because my next guest is an American hero, Victor Avila. He is a retired supervisory special agent with the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security Investigations under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. ICE enforces federal laws governing border control, customs, trade, and immigration to promote homeland security and public safety. Victor has been recognized by ICE and HSI for his exemplary service and professional accomplishments while serving as a special agent in the El Paso field office. Victor served as an accredited diplomat and also as a liaison, conducting international complex criminal investigations in a wide range of violations such as narcotics trafficking, arms trafficking, human trafficking and smuggling, financial violations, commercial fraud, and counterterrorism. While on official assignment in Mexico, Special Agent Avila suffered multiple gunshot wounds and survived a violent ambush by the Mexican Los Zetos drug cartel, where his partner, Special Agent Jaime Sabata, tragically lost his life. Victor is a phenomenal author. You need to get the book, Agent Under Fire, agentunderfirebook.com. He is also an incredibly inspirational speaker. VictorAvilaSpeaks.com and also a website, Victor Avila, A-V-I-L-A, Victor Avila TX for Texas.com. Victor has recently been to the border yet again, something that the border czar, Kamala Harris, has yet to do. And Victor has done it dozens of times and gives us the most up-to-date information about what's really happening on our border in the South. Victor, welcome back to the Operation Freedom Show and platform.
Always a pleasure to be back with you, Dr. Janda. Thank you.
So, Victor, give us an update. You were recently down on the border, and tell us what's happening.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the same, but there's a shift, and these shifts are going to continue to happen. You're going to see the Biden administration take a victory lap as soon as these January numbers come out. because they're going to be lower. And you're going to be thinking, wow, the Biden administration has done a great job in reducing the influx of illegal immigration at our southern border, and that's going to be completely false. And I'm telling you why. Those numbers are going to be lowered, and they're going to be reported lower, and I'm going to tell you why. Because not only are they coming in through and in between the ports of entry, but now the Biden administration is allowing illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, to come in through a port of entry. That means that they will be processed. They are already being processed. They have been being processed in the last several months on the Mexican side by NGOs, these non-governmental organizations, that the Biden administration has given them the authority to do so. And guess what? They are already coming in with paroles, walking through the pedestrian lane at our land border with a quote-unquote legal status. But most importantly, they will not be counted. They will not be counted as illegal aliens, and therefore the numbers are going to drop. And they're going to say that these people are not coming in, which in fact is not true. The numbers are still coming in, and they're coming in more than ever. And I want to share another stat here with you. The number of gotaways in the fiscal year, as you guys know, the fiscal year is October to October for the government. And just in this last fiscal year, since this past October, almost 300,000 gotaways. 300,000. These are gotaways that a gotaway is an individual illegally coming into the country that has not been detected at all by Border Patrol. And that's 300,000 that they estimate. The smuggling, Dr. Janda, on the southern border is out of control because several things as part of the shift. One is when these illegal aliens can go to a new app called CBP1, and you could go into the app and basically apply for this parole status and come into the land border. But a lot of them are figuring, you know what, that's just a little too complex for me. I just want to come in the old-fashioned way, in through the river, or even better yet, just come in smuggled, not be detected at all, not put my fingerprints, and come in to the rest of the country. And that still continues at an alarming rate.
So, Victor, you mentioned these folks are checking in on the Mexican side of the border with NGOs, and they're given paperwork that they're essentially paroled as far as their immigration status. Victor, how can they do that? Are they linked in with U.S. judges and law enforcement that does that? How does that occur?
It is 100% illegal to do it. I tell you, as a special agent, I had the authority to issue these paroles. You cannot issue a parole to circumvent a quote-unquote asylum claim. As you know, the left continues to call them asylum claimers. They're not. They're not claiming asylum. And even if they were claiming asylum, they do not, 95% of them do not qualify for asylum, because the number one thing is that they're not being persecuted by their government. That's it, plain and simple. Mm-hmm, but this administration is ignoring our own asylum criteria, our own immigration law, our own Immigration Nationality Act that was passed by Congress, and it's illegal what they're doing. And so, yes, they're processing and giving them this parole, which is what they call a deferred action, meaning you're protected. You cannot be picked up by a Border Patrol agent or an ICE agent within the United States of America, because you have this status now, and they will have this status until whenever they come and see a judge. When 4 or 5 years from now, if that ever even happens.
So the NGOs are issuing these.
Yes, the NGOs, the government, our government has given the NGOs this power. Not only the power, but let me tell you, the money that these NGOs are making. NGOs like Endeavors is the big one. There's others in El Paso, in Del Rio, Texas, in Eagle Pass, Texas. I've seen them. They run the show down there, Dr. Janda. These NGOs are the movers and shakers, and I call them an extension of the cartels. They're the ones that, once the illegal aliens are processed by Border Patrol agents, they take over. They set you up. They set up the illegal alien through a bus transportation, commercial airline, housing, healthcare, whatever it is that you need to get you to your final destination. And even when you get to your final destination, that NGO, for example, in New York, Chicago, D.C., takes over to help them. I mean, we see what's happening in New York, that they're so entitled, these illegals, and I'm very tired of the left setting the narrative. It's time that we set the narrative, and the narrative that we set should be the truth, and that should be the leading narrative, not the one that the left continues to put forward. We have these illegal aliens entitled to, they want the housing, they want the health care, they want their special food and treatment, but they don't recognize that they're illegally present in this country and not contributing anything to the communities whatsoever.
So, Victor, the drug cartels make probably hundreds of millions of dollars a year in transporting illegals across the border because they get their cut. You pay us and we're going to get you over there. Victor, how are the cartels handling the NGOs? When I hear this, I'm thinking the NGOs are cutting the cartels out. How are the cartels handling that?
No. It's the NGOs are not calling the cartels out. The cartels are okay. You see, it's a business, and it's a business model, and that business model starts in South America, and it starts from the guy in the cart selling you the equipment to get ready to cross through the Darien Gap in the jungle. You need special boots. You need equipment. You need all the women. And any female is given an after morning pill and condoms because they will get raped. It's not if you get raped, it's how many times you will get raped. So here's your morning after pill. Here are your condoms, so at least you will not get impregnated. And they're being raped by the tribe members in the Darien Gap in the jungle, by the cartels, by all these other illicit groups, the smugglers and such. But the NGOs are, the cartel gets their cut, and they hand them over to the NGOs. The NGOs are facilitators, but the NGOs are getting paid by our own government, by our own State Department. It's us sending the money to them to process these individuals. We're the ones paying them.
So, Victor, is it then possible? So the cartels deliver them to the NGOs. The NGOs are getting money from the U.S. government to then issue these fraud papers, essentially, to get into the country on these parole documentation. Is it possible, Victor, that the NGOs are taking the taxpayer money, and then what they're doing is let's say the cartel brings them 100 people. Is it possible that the NGOs are saying to the cartel, "Hey, you brought us 100 people. We'll give you $100 a person. Okay, it's taxpayer money. We got it covered. We're taking our side of this, but we'll give you $100 for every person." Is that possible? That taxpayer money is being, if you will, laundered into the cartels through these NGOs?
It's definitely commingled, that's for sure. Because whether or not the NGO is directly having to pay for that service to get the body out, the cartel doesn't care. You got to imagine this. This human body is a product. It's a commodity. Don't think of the human body as ugly as this sounds. Don't think of them as a human person. They think of it as a piece of furniture. You're moving this piece of furniture from one part of the country into the other. And so all they care about is storage, distribution, like you would do any other product, right? And so there might be some commingling. Of course there's commingling there. Whether the NGO is paying them directly, I'm not sure, but the cartel gets their cut. They get it from the illegal alien. They will not leave the country of Mexico. And as a matter of fact, cartels in Central America and Venezuela, like Cartel de los Soles, and others that get their cut as well. A lot of these individuals are owing the cartel this money when they get to their final destination and having to pay back, and they're kind of this indentured servitude condition where they have to pay back. I've interviewed them. They pay back $1,000 a month to the cartel with a $300 late payment fee if you're late on your payment. And so these illegal aliens, if you don't have a job immediately, well, they're going to have to resort to some kind of activity to get that money because the cartel has threatened their family to be killed and their properties to be taken away from them if they don't get that money immediately. There's a lot of things going on with the smuggling of the individuals, but I want to add the cartels and the movement of the fentanyl, Dr. Janda. It is, we've been talking about this lately here in the last month. The fentanyl and methamphetamine that China is moving through these cartels has gotten to a point where we need to wake up and need this administration to recognize the imminent threat that that we face with the cartels. And we talk about the cartels because we see the cartels. They're very visible. They love to show their propaganda and their power and their parallel government and their authority in Mexico, and plus their presence in the U.S. with their violence. Just about a week and a half, 10 days ago, there was a cartel hit in California where they went and killed, in a farming community, killed and executed all the family members, including a 10-month-old baby and the 16-year-old mother, by getting shot in the head, execution style. Now, I tell you, this is what the cartel, this is what they do, this is what they, that's how they operate. Yes, here in the United States of America, we've seen this violence spill over a long time ago. A lot of violence that you see happening in Chicago and the bigger cities are linked to the cartel, are linked to the fentanyl poisoning that they continue to bring. And I can't shout it out loud enough to have people recognize the threat that they face, because China is getting to us. You know, besides the balloons and the intel, they're literally killing us with the fentanyl poisoning, and we're doing nothing about it.
So, Victor, what can we do? I mean, obviously, the Biden administration is going to do nothing about this. So we're seeing this happen in all of our communities. Every community in our country is affected one way or another with this. What do we do at our local communities, because we can't rely on the feds to do anything?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to ask if you guys want to follow me on border911.com. I've joined forces with the America Project, and this is Tom Homan, the ex-director of ICE under President Trump, myself, another individual, Jason Jones. We're the experts that are coming to different communities. We did our first one in Phoenix. Not only are we telling you the latest of what's happening on the border and educating people about what's really happening that you don't hear about, but we want to bring the solutions and the local community. And I heard you say this earlier, the importance of getting involved at the local level, because now you see towns like New York and others, they're struggling with absorbing these individuals in the community. And let me tell you, a lot of them don't want to work. A lot of them don't want to participate because you and I have talked about this before. They do not want to assimilate here. And the lack of work, the lack of all these other issues is now staring them in the face. And your local elected official that you voted for is going to have to decide whether they put you and your family first, and your neighborhood and your town first, or people from China. Oh, speaking of China, next time we speak, remember this. There's a wave of Chinese nationals coming. We've had people from 150 different countries come over, from Europe, Africa. You know, we talk about Mexicans, Central Americans all the time. Yes, that's a given. But Chinese nationals are coming. They're coming to South America. They're coming through the seaports. They're coming. And you and I know the national security threat that we face, because it's China. They're our enemy. We don't know what intentions they have in our country, and that's the problem, that our border agents do not have the time, that even if they intercept some of these individuals, they don't have the time to vet them, question them, investigate them, because the Biden administration has made it very clear, you will process them. And when I say the word process, is really move them quickly, get them out, move, especially the unaccompanied minors. The unaccompanied minors, which is child trafficking and human trafficking, is still happening underneath, right in front of our noses, and you will move them. You will send these children to sponsors that we have no idea who they are, and they will end up somewhere. And you're going to see a lot of it. You'll see a lot of human trafficking awareness because Super Bowl is coming up. Super Bowl is it happens in a lot of big venue events, but Super Bowl has been one that has brought a lot of awareness to human trafficking, but because the human traffickers come to these big events, and unfortunately, they have the customers. And so the traffickers will bring the victims to these events, in this case, Arizona, to get their things done. And this is where Homeland Security Investigations and other agencies will come together, track them down, and try to take some of these organizations down. But I want people to understand it's happening every day, and it is getting closer and closer to your neighborhood if it's not already there.
Folks, we're speaking with Victor Avila, agentunderfirebook.com. Victor, we now have a Republican House in Washington. Victor, have you seen anything from the illegal immigration side from this new and empowered House of Representatives? Or is it just more of the same old thing, a lot of talk and no action?
First, I haven't seen anything yet. I know there's a border security bill that's pretty good, but you have representatives like Tony Gonzalez. Let me tell you who Tony Gonzalez is. He's a U.S. congressman that oversees most of the Texas border, from a portion of El Paso all the way down to San Antonio, Texas area, down there. And he's already kind of, he's not supporting it. This guy's a rhino. He's beyond a rhino. I think he's a Democrat. I don't know why he has an R in front of his name. But that's the problem that we have in the Republican Party, representatives like Tony Gonzalez that are in there sabotaging the America First agenda and putting Texas first, putting America first. So people need to understand the people that they voted in there sometimes are not out there, voting for the best intentions to represent our community. So I'm on top of that, and we're trying to figure out with the America Project, working very closely. We were in Arizona, met with the legislators. We're going to do the same in Texas. We're going to be in Alpine, Texas next week, and we're going to be going all over the place. We will bring, and we are helping with the wording of these bills in the legislation, because we know this is the place where you make a difference. We need to pass the laws. We need to force the Biden administration. We have already filed lawsuits. Every inch of the southern border, from the tip of Texas all the way to California, is locked down in lawsuits with the America Project, forcing the Biden administration to do their job. And a lawsuit is a lawsuit, but we have to. We're trying to come through every avenue and exploit every avenue that we can to get to them. We're forcing them, and we are. The pressure's on. They're feeling the pressure, I'll tell you, Dr. Janda. Biden went down the border as lackadaisical that visit was, and whatever. At least he went down there. The mayor of New York went down there, got to see a little bit more. Whatever it is, we're putting the pressure. They're not going to be able to ignore the threat that we face in this country because of their ideology and their open border policies.
Victor, in our last minute and a half of this segment, educate our listeners on how they can follow you on a daily basis, and educate them again about the group that you're affiliated with, the border911.com website as well.
Yes, I'm going to take advantage to go to border911.com, americaproject.com, and you'll follow me and you'll see where we're going, and we're doing good things with that. But I'm going to take this minute to, on a personal note, 2 of the shooters, Dr. Janda, of the Zetas cartel, are going to be resentenced. If you remember, the murder charge was dismissed. Well, we have to go back to court. That court date has been set for March 1st at 2 p.m. in Washington, D.C. I will be down there. I will be testifying in front of the court, giving my victim impact statement, urging the judge to resentence these guys to life in prison, and hopefully that will be over and done with. But that is still up and coming, and hopefully we can put that behind us.
And Victor, we will have you on immediately after that trial. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, of course, with the Zapata family. Victor, I'd like to thank you for your perseverance, dedication, and sacrifice. Many people who would have been shot up by the cartels would have stepped away and walked away and hidden, but not you. You stepped forward even more so. and put it all on the line. And I thank you on behalf of every American for all that you are doing, have done, and will do.